Hey, welcome in Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas. Hello, I'm Billy Cobbin, the Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
Here we are. Hey, check it out. New record, Jason. New record this morning.
New record.
806, man. That's great. I always tell people, if you ain't at work by 8 o'clock, you're fired. Well, man, I may just need to walk out of here, you know?
No.
I'm going to be positive this morning. It's just, thank goodness that out of everything that could have happened, everything, no, it didn't. They always say, you always feel like when you're in the midst of chaos that everything bad happened. No, not everything bad happened. I made it here. I'm alive. I'm breathing.
Your laptop's in good shape.
Laptop, man, I'll tell you. Have you ever did that? Put something valuable on the hood of your truck and drove off?
I did it with my cell phone a couple of years ago.
Did you find it?
Well, yeah, I found it. It was, I drove off and right there at the post office, hit a bump. The thing was sitting on either my hood or top of I think it was on the rail of the truck. I set it there and got all the way home, and I'm like, where's my phone? And we started looking for it, and Kim does the Find My app, where you can find it. Yeah. Well, we found it. It was sitting there in the middle of the road there, right in front of the post office. So we drive all the way back and get it, and of course it's crushed to a million pieces, but at least we found it so we could send it in, and get a replacement. And I don't know if that made any difference or not, but anyway, the reason we're talking about that is because Rob this morning comes in and tells me he left his laptop on the hood of his truck and came all the way to town with it on the hood of your truck. Tell me about that.
Well, first, I'll get some advice from you as a father with children, but my first question is, how do you have a consistent routine in the morning with children? Now, it's funny because I'll have child experts tell me that you do this, you do this, you do this.
Yeah.
But then I'll have real parents who tell me that there's no consistency.
Yeah. Well,
so I'll start with that. That's the precursor to everything this morning, man.
First of all, I will say, your situation is very unique because Bridget has to get up so early and go to work. She has to be there at what time?
She usually leaves the house by 5:30 when they ask her to come in at 6. So
Yeah, 5:30 in the morning. So I'm fortunate that Kim takes care of that, and that she can get them up and get them breakfast, get them going, get them to school and all that. So, I'm blessed in that respect that I can't really give you a whole lot of advice because I don't do that. But I
pray,
can,
Rob, pray. You can tell me to pray.
I can sympathize with you because I've heard the fights and the arguments before. But I tell you, it is a battle.
No, it's a good bat. It's all right, though. It's part of the I've learned, and it's funny, my brother the other day had told my mom, he said, I knew having children was difficult, but I didn't know it was like – and my brother's older than me, and he has – my brother, he waited until he was like 42, 43 to have his first child. And so he's going – he's learning too. But I told him, I said, man, you're blessed because mom's there at home, and if y'all need to run to the grocery store or do something real quick, for us it's always we – and I don't want to sit here and complain because I don't want to feel like I'm not a victim of anything. It's just, it is what it is, man.
Well, it's live. That's
just life.
Yeah, and it is. I think every day has its own battles. We just have to realize that
some of them you can't pick and choose.
Some of them you can't pick and choose. That's right.
Some of them you just got
just happen.
Some of them, some of them you just got. But here's what you can do, and I've had to remind myself this morning, but I can't control my attitude about how it is. And I was pretty patient at like 7:15 or whatever. I told Braylon, and I try to get out of the house honestly by 6:40. I mean, that's the goal. But my little girl, she's my sweetheart, man. But she's my little darling. That's what I call her, my little darling. But little darling this morning, she was not having it. It took her over an hour just to get her dressed, and she was kicking and screaming, and there is a consistency of like, a routine of what time I put them to sleep, and we put them to sleep and all that. But the mornings are just the strangest thing because I never know what I'm going to get. Like yesterday was awesome. I was like on cloud 9. I mean, she got up on her own. She got dressed on her own. She brushed her hair on her. I was like, man, this is awesome. This is what every parent talks about. And then Caden's that cool little age where he's just like whatever. So, so he's whatever I do, he's happy. And so yesterday was really good. Then this morning was total opposite. I mean, Caden was cool, but then Braylon was she wasn't having it this morning. So, anyways, to answer your question, I have my laptop here, my cool little Acer that I just replaced the screen in because it broke. And anyways, I guess I was in a rush to get out of the house, and I had it on top of the hood of the truck, and I got to the school, and I said, oh, well, there's a laptop sitting on top of the hood. Power adapter fell off somewhere, but at least the laptop's there. Power adapter's $20 on Amazon. I can live with that. So yeah, there's something.
You're blessed
thankful.
there, yeah.
And see, and I probably, man, I feel bad. I got to admit this, so I have to be transparent, Jason. There's some things that you don't want to say publicly. There's other things that it's okay to say publicly. This is one. If you're my neighbors, I'm very sorry for racing through the neighborhood. I was still going below the speed limit, by the way.
Watch those deer out there.
Yes. Now, I was going the speed limit, Jason. Speed limit's 30. I was going 30. But when the vehicle in front of you is going 10.
Enjoying the sunrise.
Yeah, well, they're doing a ton of fiber construction out in our neighborhood. We already have 2. Now they're throwing a third one in. And here's what I don't understand. The federal government has made this possible for fair competition, so I get that, right? And the public utility, the city has nothing to do with that. That is all federal. I mean, that's a federal law. There has to be some sort of public utility right-of-way in your property. Now, the county and the city does have some governance over that, but it is also a federal law that there has to be competition in communications, which is a great thing, not a bad thing, right? It's good because that helps to drive prices down, typically.
I know where you're going with this.
Okay, Vexus comes in. Well, here's the deal. First, Tachus comes in. And they talk a big game. Boy, they're literally bringing golf balls to meetings at the Elkins Lake Clubhouse. That's how much they were excited. They brought golf balls with their logo and gave them out to everybody. I don't even play golf, but I like those golf balls.
Yeah, right.
And they had little tees, little golf tee. I mean, they had the whole thing. They were talking this big game. Oh, we're coming in, and we're going to be here in the next 3 months. And while they're yakking, Vexus just comes in and starts building. They didn't come in and talk to us. They just got to work. See, my dad's always said, Get to work. Quit talking and get to work.
Right.
Although now I'm in the profession where I talk when I work, right? So anyways, Vexus comes in. They knock it out of the park, man. They come in, they run all that tubing, all that underground drilling, directional drilling, and all that stuff. They hit a few water lines. They destroyed a few things. That's going to happen. But they fixed it all, right? And I wasn't, it's whatever. And I guess I wasn't upset because that didn't happen in my yard. So I said, well, we just got to endure a little pain to get good internet, right? So they already have the infrastructure built. Then all of a sudden, another fiber company decides they want to build. Mm-hmm. So instead of leasing the existing infrastructure like normal utility companies do on a power pole, they decide that they're going to start running their own conduit. Mm-hmm. And so now pretty soon in our yards, we're probably going to have 3 pieces of conduit at the front of the yards. And we're going to have 3 what they call flower boxes, which are the utility boxes. Just littered in the front yard now with all of these different connections of services that you can choose from.
Yeah. That's that's overkill.
It's extremely overkill. And
But
here's what,
hopefully y'all have super high speed internet.
yeah, we're going to have the highest speed you've ever, brother, we're going to be hitting the speed of light out there. Well, literally you will with fiber, The only thing that limits fiber is the technology on each end. Did you know that? That's the only thing that limits. They still don't theoretically know the limits of fiber, because what's limiting fiber right now is the equipment on each end, which is
didn't know that.
Which is really cool to think about. But anyways, yeah. So that's coming soon. They put a tag on the door yesterday. Xfinity's the new one, and they said we're going to be building pretty soon. I said, well, at least thanks for letting me know.
So are you a customer of one of those companies yet?
Vexus, yeah, I love Vexus. They've been good to us. T-Mobile bought them out, by the way, already.
So that's going to kill the cable company out there in Elkins Lake.
They've already perished.
Yeah, they've already packed it up and headed out.
Well, there was a guy I was talking to him the other day, and I felt so. I literally went up and gave this. I gave him a little side hug because I just felt bad for the guy because he's out there working hard, and I said, brother, and he's a contractor, and I said, y'all gonna be put out of business.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, we got new technology on the way. I said, no, you don't. I said, I'm sorry, buddy, but you know as good as I do that.
Streaming.
You can't compete with fiber.
No.
Coax is gone.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, that brings me to this point, Jason. Just think if, there's some areas that are deregulated. I don't think we're deregulated here in Huntsville. I think you have to use Entergy for your provider. I may be wrong. Georgetown owned the utility where I grew up, and so it wasn't deregulated. But if you lived right outside of city limits, it was deregulated. And that was so great because, perfect example, I had a computer store when I had my business. I opened up another location in the town next to us in Round Rock. Mm-hmm. Round Rock was deregulated. They didn't own the utility. Mm-hmm. And I went with who everybody went through, which was like TXU or something at the time. And I remember my utility bills at my computer shop were like $400 a month. And I was thinking, that's kind of high. Yeah, we had a lot of equipment running over there, but it was still kind of high. I found some group, and I thought it was one of those MLM scams, but it turned out to be legit. Ambit Energy. Have you ever heard of these guys? Mm-hmm. You could be an Ambit representative and resell Ambit and make money and eventually get your power for free.
Oh, wow.
When an Ambit rep came and talked to me, I said, man, I don't believe in all this MLM stuff. I said, I think it's a pyramid scheme. He's like, no, I promise it's not. It wasn't. They're still in business. But he sold me on Ambit. My utility bill is $200 cheaper a month.
Wow, that's awesome.
It just goes to show you the power of deregulation.
Competition. Where we live, we're on a co-op, Mid-South. That's who our provider is, so there's no way we could ever get competition like that.
Y'all could put solar arrays out there.
Yeah, you could do that. In fact, we've had a lot of, that's a big thing now. People are putting those solar, and then at one time they were sending out brochures about those wind, where you could put some sort of turbine up in near your house and get your power for free and all this, and then eventually if it worked good enough and you didn't use enough, you could sell it back to the company.
Inject it back into the grid.
Yeah, that's right. So
Mr. Bay, we can put this in. It's only going to take 120 years to pay it back.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's the hidden cost that they don't tell you.
They were telling us about $10,000 is what it would cost to get that set up. So I don't know. I don't know if it was worth it or not. I mean, our electric bill is pretty high. It might be worth it.
Might be, yeah. Well, anyway, so my last part of the story was just think, though, if all the power companies were deregulated and they were allowed to put up power poles every time a new one came.
Oh my goodness, it would be nothing but power poles.
So, anyways, Jason, good to see you. We're here on a very thankful I'm thankful to be here. Thankful Thursday. It's always one of my favorite days of the week. I love every day of the week, but I especially love our Thursdays. Just having you here, Jason, it's always good to be reminded of a lot that we have to be thankful for. Big thank you to Elliot Herzlich from Elliot's Jewelers. He's online at elliotsjewelers.com. And, of course, we are here with Jason Bay, pastor at First Baptist Church. So good to see you, man.
Good to be here,
Thank
brother.
you, brother. I need these mornings more. I know sometimes if I'm running behind, you'll say, like, let's run a rerun. But I need these mornings. These are good times for me to pause, slow down, reflect, and continue promoting the good.
Yeah,
there is so much good.
There is. We do need to pause for a little while and be thankful, like you said. Last night was a great night. We had our first Wednesday night live here. You took a part, and how did it go?
Check-in went. We were working on the new check-in system here, and it was really cool because we've had this system for a while now. Now we're starting to utilize more of the features. And I was showing our children's minister how cool it is now that we can click on one little link and you can see everybody that's checked in.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that list, I said, man, there was a lot of folks here. I think it was a very successful Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was great. And the kids did wonderful. I was teaching the class, and it was a great night.
I told one of the youngsters that I remembered from last year, you and I, it's really cool because we get to flip-flop. So and I've learned so much from you with just how to kind of corral and teach these kids. And I love being around you, Jason, because you have a passion for teaching. And I've told you this numerous times. In fact, I was telling somebody yesterday that doesn't go to church here I said, our pastor just has been anointed and has a passion for teaching. And I see that in you.
I appreciate that.
And you do a great job with those kids. And it was funny because one of the kids, I said, hey, they go, oh, are you going to be teaching? I said, no, Pastor Jason's back. And she goes, yes.
No.
So they think the world of you, man.
No, it's good. We have a good time. It was a great night, and it was good to see all the people back in action on Wednesday night.
Yeah, how did that come about? Because I know you've been here now 10 years, right? Has it been officially 10 years?
Yep,
Wow.
over 10 years.
Over 10. It just went like that, hasn't it?
Be 11 in November.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did the Wednesday night come about? Was it something that y'all started like right away, or did it over time? Did it kind of open? I've always wondered about that.
Well, I came from First Baptist Church Dodge and came to Huntsville, and at that time, First Baptist Church Huntsville was in a really unique spot, to say the least. They had just an older congregation. Most of the people were 65 and up, seniors. There was no children here except for Deborah's children and my children at the time. And we said, and my kids had a lot of friends, and they were going through school, and we had always done Wednesday night live at our old church. And so it was just routine for us to do it. It's Wednesday, and we're going to go to church. And this church didn't have anything at the time, so we said, let's do something. Let's do something on Wednesday nights for kids, and we just started it. And now it's become such Deborah has taken it to the next level, just really organized and really structured, and the kids don't have any downtime. From the moment they get here, they're doing something the whole time, and then at 7:30 they're out the door, and it's just, I think that creates an atmosphere where, we don't deal with a whole lot of discipline issues because it's just the kids are moving from one thing. It's so much activity and so much energy going from one thing to the next. They don't even have time to think. They're just absorbing all this information. Kids' attention spans are so short now anyway. You have to keep it moving constantly, and that's what Deborah has put together, a thing where we have rotation schedules. And so the kids usually get here around 5 o'clock. They have a meal. They serve them a meal at 5:30. Then they come straight over at 6 o'clock. We have a short worship service. Then we have a Bible study. Then they move to games. Then they move to crafts. And so it's just constantly moving. And it's a great format. We do it basically 12 weeks in the spring and 12 weeks in the fall. And that way nobody gets burned out.
What I love about just how the Lord is always working, and especially here at First. And I'm not just saying it because we're sitting here and we're at church here, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and his work schedule doesn't allow him to be here every Sunday. But he was one that said, I'm really not big on church. I love the Lord, but I just don't know about church. And I was encouraging him, and you probably know what I'm talking about, encouraging him and his family, and he and his wife, and they started coming. And he doesn't get to make it every Sunday because he's in the business of serving people with the job that he has, so he can't always be here. Mm-hmm. But he told me something the other day that I felt was the same for me and my family. He goes, I just love being up at that church. Mm-hmm. He goes, I love being up there. Mm-hmm. And he goes, if I could be up there 7 days a week, I would.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a wonderful sign of a church whenever people that are new say they just love being up at the church. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've been here, going on 2 years now, and I love being up here. I know you always tell me, hey, Rob, you need to take a day off, go home. I do need to do that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I just love being up here. There is a peace being up here at this church. And, we've been so blessed, Jason, as you know, we've had many, many new families. And I love saying families coming to church. I love seeing families come to church because I think it's so important that families get rooted in a church. I think a lot of that transitions, to what happens at home. And if you're involved in a church, things at home will improve. I really believe that. If you're going through trials, Bridget and I have been through a lot. We've been together over 10 years, but I really think, I know that our faith and trust in Christ is what holds our relationship strong.
Amen.
And being here at church. And there's weeks to where, something happens with the kids and the whole family can't be here. And that week just feels off. Mm-hmm, it just doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. But the weeks that we're able to be here as a family, there's just something about that restores that same thing at home. Mm-hmm. And what I was getting at, Jason, there's several new families that we're so blessed to have here at the church. And one family has been coming and checking out the church. And I had sent them a message to invite them to Wednesday Night Live, someone that I just think the world of. I just love them and their family, and I've known them for a long time. And I was so thankful one Sunday when I saw them here. And they've been coming. And so I sent them a message. I said, hey, I just wanted to remind y'all about Wednesday Night Live. We'd love to have y'all, and if you're available, we'd love to have you and your family. And I love what he said. And this is the reason I brought all this up. Is he said, we're not a Sunday family. We are all in. And he goes, we're going to be at everything that we can as a family at that church. That is so important.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's great. That is wonderful.
And I love that. I love how he said we're not a Sunday family. Mm-hmm. That was so good. Mm-hmm. Like, it just made me think about, no, we should be a family that's as engaged as we possibly can be, because that's really the only way that we grow in our faith, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the model that I think over the years, we've altered it and changed it, and I think the model that we have adopted is a really good model, because there is a balance. There has to be a balance between, you want the church is here to equip you to carry out the mission of Christ wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And a lot of times, I think people, the church schedule has so much going on all the time that it takes away from the family. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't equip the people. It's draining physically because there's so much going on. And I think the schedule that we've adopted is pretty balanced. We ask people to do three things. We ask them to be committed to worship. We ask them to be a part of one small group somewhere in the church, and then we ask them to find a place to serve. And that's the only things that we ask them to do, to be involved, to find a place to serve, find a small group that you like, and come to worship with us. And the Wednesday Night Live, like I said, we only do that 24 weeks out of the year, 12 weeks in the fall right now starting, and it will end before Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving in the month of December is so busy. People are going and the weather's not good. January and February we typically do upwards basketball, and then we start back in March and go to through May with our second semester of Wednesday Night Live. So I think the schedule that we've adopted is a very balanced schedule, and it's not overwhelming to families to say, hey, I want to be involved in all that you're doing. Yeah, well, here's what we're doing. But we also have these downtime scheduled for you, and to kind of take a deep breath and be with your family during these important times. That's
so good. And, I think it's right. And I know I say, hey, I'd be up here every moment if I could, but in reality, you do need those downtimes.
Yes.
And if you have a program that goes 52 weeks a year, it's gonna kind of wear you out after a while.
And not only that, it wears the teachers out, but not only that, the quality of it diminishes. If you're just doing something every single week, when we dedicate 12 weeks in the fall and 12 weeks in the spring, we can make it very good, and it can be very, pointed at what we're trying to accomplish. And I think all of our helpers understand that. So we're not asking for a huge commitment. We're asking for 12-week commitment, and we're asking for you during that 12 weeks to give your very best.
Yeah, it's not like you walk in and we put chains on the door. And I've been in places where it feels like that.
Yeah, or it's like a daycare. You're
Yeah.
just the kids are just there as because the parents want to drop them off, or they want to. No, this is something that they're going to like, and I think that's our goal, is that when they leave here on Wednesday, they want to come back.
Yeah, I saw so many, and we have a lot of young people too, Jason, that come here, and it's for all family. I don't want to mislead people. It's for people of all ages because there's adult classes. Barry does such a great job with
We had a
lot
bunch
of
of
our
adults here last night.
What's really neat is I see a lot of children, though, that come here on Wednesdays that maybe their parents don't go to church or they don't go on a Sunday. And I was talking to one young man yesterday that's in high school, and he goes, I just love being here. And I said, well, come on Sunday, too. And he's like, well, my family doesn't go. I said, well, ask them. Just ask them. Ask your mom to get up and bring you. I said, I bet she'll come if you tell her, because I know his mom's a good lady. She just has been disconnected from the church. And I told him, I said, just ask her. Say, Mom, I'd really like for you to come. And say it like this. Say, Mom, I'd like for you to come to church with me. And there's something about that. And that's what's cool. This young man is so fired up about being here on Wednesday nights.
Praise God. That's what it's all about.
Well, Jason, outside of that, how have you been, man? What's been going on?
Oh, it's been great. We've been getting back into the routine. Our school, the kids are back at A&M. My older ones and my younger ones are going to school, and volleyball season has kicked off. So Lily is playing volleyball. We've been going and watching her. In fact, that's why I'm dressed like I am today. Today she has a tournament at the school. So after work today, I'm going to go over there and watch her
Awesome.
play some volleyball, and she's excited about that. And so it's been great. Last week I was at a church, Base Chapel Church. That's a little church, little ways down from our house, about a mile from our house. It's our church that our ancestors planted there years ago. Back in
cool.
1851. They built that church, and they started that church. And so they asked me to come and do their homecoming service, which they do in August every year. And so I went and did that and spent the time with them last week. So I wasn't able to be here in our church this past Sunday. I was actually with them, but it was good to be with those people and to see what God is doing at their church. Had a packed house. It was great to see some family and friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and all our kids were able to be there. So it was a blessing. We had a great week last Sunday. So it was sad to be away from here, but it was also great to fellowship with others that I hadn't seen in a while.
We've been so blessed here to have so many wonderful folks, Jason. I always tell him this. I tell him a lot. I say, I love you, Brother Don Jackson.
Yeah.
He's the principal over at Mans Park this year, but he's also our associate pastor here at First. And I think, he's been so instrumental to a lot of what we've been doing here. And it was so great of Alan and you to identify and say, man, we need to find a way to bring him on board.
Yeah.
And he and his family, I just love them so much, and I know we all do. And I'd messaged him because we were gone too. We were at Bridget's sister's wedding, the last of the Mohicans. She finally got married, and that's the last of their children now that are. I'm sure Mr. Brennan's happy because he's like, finally, I got the last one out of here. Her and her husband now, they had been together for a long time. In fact, when I was broadcasting Georgetown Eagle baseball, her husband. It's kind of weird to say husband because I've known him forever, but her husband Logan was playing baseball then. That's they met years ago in high school, and so they've had that really cool kind of high school love story that you hear sometimes, and they've been together so long. They finally got married. I say so long. I mean they're still in their young mid-20s, but they got married. And it's just cool to see that union come together. And it was really cool to see. I love weddings that are focused on the Lord, as they all should be. That's the whole point of marriage, in my opinion. And it was just so awesome to see that wedding and to see so many people come together. and to have a wedding that is centered around the love of Christ. And I was really honored and blessed because they asked me to do the reception prayer the night before for the they call that the reception, right? Is that what the thing's called? Always I forget.
No, rehearsal dinner.
Rehearsal, yeah, not
Rehearsal.
reception.
Yeah.
So they asked me to do that, and then they asked me to do the prayer right before, after the wedding, and then everybody gets together.
Yeah, that's the reception.
The reception, yeah. I should know all these things, Jason. And so, anyways, it was neat, and I just reminded them of marriage being about the union of a man and a woman, and coming together, and living out your marriage in faith, and trusting the Lord through every process, knowing that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. But if you keep Christ at the center of it, that all things work out. And, and we've had people here that have told us, and I don't mind saying this because he said it, but Don said, if it wasn't for our faith, that's what's kept our marriage strong and brought us back together. And I think that's such a story for anybody maybe this morning that's struggling even in a relationship. If you haven't taken that next step towards marriage yet, put God at the center of that relationship,
That's
whether
right.
you're dating or whether you're married. And watch what he's going to do.
That's right. Amen.
So it was
word.
cool. And Don, the reason I brought up Don is because I'd messaged him. I caught bits and pieces of the sermon, and I said, Don, that was just an awesome message. And he said, well, I feel like I was struggling, because he said his voice was kind of off, and he goes, I felt like I was struggling through it. I said, brother, that was one of the best you've had. I said, that's the best you've had yet.
Right.
So I said, if you were struggling through that, then keep on struggling, man, because that was great, man.
Yeah, praise God. Praise God. I'm thankful that we have him. Like I said, he's such a vital part of this community in so many ways. But God brought him to us, and that way, whenever I have to be out for different reasons, then he's always prepared. And I appreciate that, because from time to time over the 10 years that I've been here, there's been times where you wake up and you're sick that morning, you weren't expecting it, and you just physically can't be here. And he's always ready, and he's always willing to fill in. So I thank God for him.
Yeah, I'll never forget that Sunday morning. Jason's so committed. That Sunday morning you called and you said, "Hey, guys, I'm probably got COVID, but I'm coming up there. Remember that?" And then we had to put that plastic wall. You remember that? No, I'm just kidding. He didn't do that, but he would. Jason would. No, that's how committed he is. This man will come. And he'll probably tell you, don't come near me because I'm running 103 fever, but he will be here and preach. That's our pastor here, Brother Jason. So we appreciate you, man.
No,
he didn't. By the way, he never did that. So,
but protect our people.
But if there was an opportunity, I guarantee you probably would. Hey guys, can we get that new plastic wall put up there?
Definitely.
Well, it's great, man. Well, Jason, a lot going on in our world too. I wanted to highlight a couple things, and for folks to keep in prayer. I always try to be upbeat and positive on this show and lift people up, but there's been some pretty tragic things. There was a shooting at a church there in Minnesota just a couple of days ago, and there's a lot of news coming out about that now. And it's another thing that I think of, and you and I have talked so much about mental health on this show, and it seems that it's becoming just an epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it is spiritual warfare, and a lot of it has to be in that realm of things, Jason. But, just some tough news there, and praying for those families. And unfortunately, that was all premeditated. There was a whole thing that came out that this person had left. And I think, we have to stay rooted in faith and trust the Lord, and be aware of people that may be struggling, and try to plant those seeds in people's lives to let them know, hey, and I'm not giving any sort of, grace to the person who committed these acts, because it's heinous of what happened. But I am reminded that we do need to find out ways that we can be aware if somebody's going through something, and try to find people help, because there is so much going on. Doesn't mean what they did. There's no excuse for any of that. But it reminded me that, I can, and I'm not going to say there's people that are thinking that radical, but I know that there's people in my life, a couple that I can think of right now, that are going through some things that have, and one of them told me that my life is worthless. And I've identified, and I've taken time to pray with that person and let them know, no, your life isn't worthless.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's spiritual warfare, because that's exactly what it is. We see as things progress, or I shouldn't say progress, degress, then we see the disintegration of a society and a culture. We begin to see the fight between good and evil even more clearly. The church becomes the enemy of of what these people that are demented want to do, the harm that they want to inflict on innocent children, innocent people, is so sad. And I think it's a reminder to us all to be vigilant in our prayers and to, like you said, to realize the reality of the situation. It is a spiritual battle out there. The enemy, this person left a manifesto. I'm sure you referred to that, but so much of that was in there was so demonic.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfectly clear what's going on, and we really need to realize this in our culture. What's going on? The spiritual battles that are taking place. It's the hostility that people have towards the church, towards people of faith, to innocent children. There's no explanation for that. There's no the only explanation is evil.
You know, Jason, and you too, as a dad, I get teared up thinking about especially now. It's weird. Like before you have children, yeah, you're sad and you see things and you're sad about things. Like you'll see a car, you'll hear about a car accident, the child tragically loses their life, or something like that. A child gets sick. But then until you become a parent and you put your children to sleep at night, as I put Braylon to sleep last night, I teared up because I was thinking, how precious of a life is this?
Yeah, you send your children to school, you send them to church. You think that's the safest place on earth that you could possibly send your children. But now what we see is it's a war. Yeah. It's a spiritual battle. It's a place where people guided by evil are trying to inflict destruction and hurt on other people. You've heard the old saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And they are dealing with the spiritual battle within, and their reaction is to hurt someone else. And how in the world it's cowardice. It's the low. It's unacceptable, and it should be unacceptable in our society. And we really should realize what is going on here. And it's a spiritual battle. We need to bathe our schools and our churches in prayer and be vigilant about what's going on, and open our eyes to the reality of our culture.
I mentioned earlier, I know of a couple of people who are going through some pretty rough things, and they've been open about not wanting to be here anymore, and it breaks my heart. And you pray with those people and you spend time with those people. But I will say, on the flip side, I've also known several people that have been in that same boat, and by the power of prayer and through faith in Christ, I've seen those lives restored. And I'll tell you, that is one of the most miraculous things, seeing somebody that has just, and I'm not talking about people who are thinking about going and harming others. That's not I'm not the people that I know. They would never. Right. They're talking about harming themselves and not wanting to be here. And I've lost some friends. I've lost some people that I've known to that, which isn't good. But I've also seen people that have said, there is something more, and I need to figure that out. And I believe that's the Holy Spirit prompting them to say, you know what, it's time to start really believing in being true in this relationship with the Lord, and He was going to bring you through this season. And I've seen that in a couple of people, and there's a guy that immediately comes to mind that was at the lowest of lows in his life, and he told me, he said, my faith in Christ is the one thing that has brought me out of this. And you'd never know if you talked to him today. He's full of so much joy and happiness, but there was a point in his life where he was posting on social media that it would scare me. Got to the point where it scared me so much. We called the police one night to go check on this person. And now to see his life completely restored because of that
Praise
faith
God.
in Christ.
Definitely.
Well, Jason, a lot going on. We've covered quite a bit already this morning. We're going to take a quick break. I know you have been working around the clock.
Oh, yeah.
Jason was up until 3 a.m. this morning.
Definitely. That's why I'm so tired.
The last 5 mornings he was up. With a special segment that you can't wait to be here on a Thursday.
That's right. That's right.
We'll take a brief break. We're going to take that break. As always, big thank you to First Baptist Church here on a very thankful Thursday. Come by and visit us. We'd love to have you. as we get things rolling with a new sermon series. The Nehemiah Project starts this Sunday. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show.
Definitely.
So we'll leave people on a teaser there. If you want to know what that is, stay locked in. We'll take a break, though. Stay with us. More to come at your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville here on a very, very thankful Thursday. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back after this.
The church should be transformational. And maybe you've never been to church, or maybe life has left you feeling lost, but Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." At First Baptist Church Huntsville, a harbor of hope, we're not trying to fit in with the world. We're here to help you step into something greater, a fresh start, a new life in Christ. Join us this Sunday at 10:45 and see what God can do in your life. Visit fbchuntsville.org. Hope is here, and we're saving a seat just for you.
Loving Jesus, loving people side by side. In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope. Hey friends, this is Rob Hipp, and I'm here to talk about a true expert in the real estate world. Let me introduce you to my good friend, Terry Coleman of the Coleman Realty Group.
With 33 years in the business, I've dedicated my life to making your real estate dreams come true. Specializing in residential properties, I serve Walker and Montgomery counties, from Spring to Trinity and areas all around.
They call her your next door agent, and here's why.
I'm not just here to help you find a home or lease a property. I'm here to build lifelong relationships. Whether it's residential or commercial, farm or ranch listings, there's something for everyone.
Now you might wonder, what sets Terry apart from other real estate agents? Well, it's simple. She goes above and beyond for her clients, like the time she surprised a family from California with a fully decorated Christmas tree and gifts when they returned from closing. You shouldn't have to compromise on the joys of home during life-changing moments. So, if you're ready to make your real estate dreams come true, here's what you need to do.
Visit my website at myrealtorterry.com and let's make those dreams a reality.
That's Terry Coleman, your expert in all things real estate.
I'm Terry Coleman, your next door agent, and I can't wait to help you open the door to your new life.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas. This is KHSP LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville.
This is Jason Bay, the pastor at First Baptist Church, Huntsville, and you're listening to Spirit Radio, the spirit of Huntsville.
Imagine a voice of hope reaching every corner of Huntsville, from homes and hospitals to prison walls. That's the heart of Spirit Radio. We're a truly local 501c3 nonprofit, and we're raising $25,000 to build our tower and get on the air. With your help, we'll broadcast encouragement, truth, and the love of Christ across our community and across the world through the Spirit Radio FM app. Visit spiritradio.fm and give today. Let's bring light to Huntsville and beyond together.
All right, friends, welcome back as we continue on this morning, another edition of Good Morning Huntsville. Jason, can you believe, I say it every morning, 581 times we've been able to come on here and celebrate the good happening in our community.
Praise the Lord.
581, hopefully another 581.
Yes.
My dad always said, if the good Lord's willing, the creeks don't rise. That was his...
Yeah, absolutely.
That was his tagline. And then one time we were at a family reunion and the creeks did rise. we were worried we wouldn't be able to. We were in Concan, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
The Frio River.
Yeah.
George Strait grew up down in that area and grew up in Pearsall.
Mm-hmm.
And the Frio County's there. But, that I distinctively remember. I've been going back thinking a lot about family and I try not to get – I try to look at all the fun memories we had because sometimes – I mean, we've all lost people in our life. When you start thinking about those people, sometimes you get depressed because you miss them so much. And what I've learned is you just got to focus on the good memories. And I had so many good memories with my dad. And I was thinking the other day, he let his beard grow out. I mean, he looked like he was living under the bridge somewhere. I mean, his beard was just out of control. And my mom, you said, Charlie, I wish you'd shave that. It's looking hideous. And he let it grow out. I think he did it just to tease his brothers and sisters because they didn't like it. And I remember that family. I was thinking about the other day. I remember that family reunion. I remember as a young man in junior high, I remember being in the bathroom. I was sitting there. We had a little tiny bathroom, little toilet, and you had the sink. You didn't have a chair to sit in. So I remember sitting on the closed toilet lid, and my dad was there shaving. And I'll never forget watching him shave that big old thick beard off. And I said, Dad, you look 30 years younger, man. So, anyways, good memories. Well, hey, you know what? I forgot to give the intro, Jason.
Here we go.
You ready for this one?
Yes.
Coming at you live. Straight from World Wrestling Entertainment. The entertainment capital of the world. Sometimes known as Prison City. But there's much more to it than that. Because First Baptist is here in Jason Bay. It's time for news you can use, brother.
All right, yes, I love that little Hulk Hogan throwback there.
I'll quit those. That was the last
No,
thing.
that
I
was
did about
great.
3
That
Hogan.
was great. That was great. So we do have some news you can use today. I want to share a few things with you, but as you know, this is the beginning of college football season. This weekend will kick off. Well, some games have already started. Sam Houston played last week, but the major college football games will begin this Saturday, and so we're looking forward to that. I know that you're looking forward to that. But in response, the Washington Post, I read this article and I just thought, well, I have to bring this to Rob's attention. The Washington Post came up with the 10 best college towns in America. Now, I would typically skip over this article because I skimmed through it and didn't see College Station on there, but I did see Austin on there. So shout out to all the Longhorn fans. That was mentioned in the article. But another college that surprised me was on the list. Can you guess?
One that's on the list?
10. One of the top 10 college towns in all America.
Not going to be here.
No.
San Marcos?
North Dakota State University.
I could see that big time.
Yeah.
They tailgate bigger than FBS schools. 30,000 people get out there. It's nuts.
Yeah, there's a whole section of this article, and I thought of you whenever I read it. It says, outside the Fargo Dome, fans start herding in a half hour before the kickoff. And this at this particular game, they were playing North Dakota. It says, the noise is ear-splitting. The Dome may only seat about 19,000, but the acoustics have been clocked at similar decibels as a jet engine, easily on par with the cathedrals in Athens, Austin, and Ann Arbor. So in this article, they give some advice if you're going to the games. It says that tailgating is approved for anything minus 30 degrees is fair game for tailgating. You ever seen people tailgating in the very cold weather?
I've experienced it there in North Dakota, and what was cool is they put up tents and they put heaters in the tents. I got to experience one firsthand. It was awesome.
Yeah, and apparently some of them, it gets pretty rowdy. Did you see the wood chipper there that they have?
No, I heard about it, though, but I didn't get to see it.
Because it's named Fargo in the movie Fargo. They have a wood chipper there that they bring to all the tailgating things. But they recommended these places to eat, and I wonder if you had eaten at any of these. Blackbird Wood Fire. Did you ever eat there? Marge's Diner. Never ate there. Did you ever go to Fargo Moorhead Visitor Center?
I've driven past it.
Yeah.
Why is that in there?
It says these are the places to visit when you're there at a game.
There must not be much to see there if you go visit the visitor center. No offense, we have a great Tracy Chappell, by the way, is going to be on the show soon from our visitor center. Our visitor center will blow that one out of the water.
Yeah, but I just thought of you when I read that, and I know that this year, it's pretty wild there apparently, but I thought of you whenever I saw that article that you got to experience a lot of that firsthand.
Yeah, I mean this is Jason. This is just is just a parade that they had.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I can't show it on the screen there, but this was just a parade when we were first there downtown. It was really a cool place, man.
10 national championships there. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. The 10th one that they played in, though, they lost. That was the only one that they lost.
Okay.
And I called that one.
Oh, all right.
That's why they told me to get out. They said that Southern boy needs to get out of here. But would you say that was called Blackbird or something?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's it. Look at that. There's a Blackbird right there.
Maybe. They said there's a good place to eat. Did you ever try a bison burger? They said the correct way to pronounce bison.
It's a Z.
Yeah, it's a bison.
I had to say bison when I was there. I don't. There was a lady I met, by the way. This is the crazy. I can't show the picture here, but this lady's you'll see the picture. Her name is Darla Jean.
Yeah.
And she and I still talk to this day.
Oh wow.
Darla Jean was in Tennessee, and she messaged me and she said, "You'll never guess who I met." This woman's in Tennessee, okay? She was driving. She goes to every game. She bought some vehicle out of state that was decked out for the Bison already. And I randomly had met her and befriended her. And she told me, she texted me one day. She goes, well, I'm in Tennessee. I'm heading to the game. She drives to all the game. She goes, oh, never guess who I met. I said, who'd you meet? She sent me a picture of her and Bill Schoening, the voice of my mentor. She goes, I ran across this guy, and he told me that he worked for the Spurs. And I said, well, I know and he said he was from Texas, and he was a sports broadcaster. And Darla Jean said, well, I told Bill that I knew a young man that was up here for a year that broadcast our games. His name was Rob. And then Bill sent a picture of me to her while they were there. And it, just neat how the world works, all the way in Tennessee. Darla Jean. And you know what she knew about Huntsville?
Oh, really?
Here's what she goes, oh, you're going back to Huntsville? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, well, be sure to stop at the hitching post. That was my – I said, how do you know? She goes, when I drove trucks, that was my favorite place to go. Out of all the places, she knew the hitching post in Huntsville.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Anyways.
But it just goes to show you, you don't have to have 120,000 people at a stadium to have a great atmosphere. It's pretty neat. Of all the college towns in America, the Washington Post listed North Dakota State as one of the best.
It is.
All right, next coming from Fox News, I saw this article. I thought of you, Rob.
Okay.
Here we go. And you know how we always keep up with upcoming fast food phenomena. Here's Fox News headlines. You can eat McDonald's food without gaining weight, says a dietitian. Here's how. Okay, so this is some of the things that you can eat at McDonald's that it says that in moderation that is not exceptionally bad for you. It says try to focus on things with high protein. Number one thing that you could eat is a cheeseburger, it says. It turns out that in moderation, McDonald's cheeseburgers and hamburgers, by extension, can fit into a diet. These provide protein and iron from the beef plus calcium from the cheese. McDonald's and hamburgers and cheeseburgers range from 250 to 300 calories and offer 12 to 15 grams of protein, respectively. Pair it with a side salad or fruit to add more nutrients to the meal. So there you go. Number two is Chicken McNuggets. This is a quick and easy protein option with a catch. Avoid the dipping sauces. The dipping sauces is the hidden calories within the chicken nuggets. So if you want to, there's two things. The filet of fish, it says, even if it's fried, the filet of fish still offers a decent amount of protein at 16 grams.
I love that thing, by the way.
390 calories, so you have to consume it in moderation. And you can ask for it without cheese. The sandwich offers protein and omega-3s from the fish, and so you can pair it with a water or unsweetened tea to keep the meal even lighter. And the last one is a Egg McMuffin. Egg McMuffin is filled with vitamins B12, B6, B5. It's a source of protein. Contains Canadian bacon, which is less fat than traditional bacon.
Love it. Thank you for pointing out that. Can I read something really quick?
Go for it.
So the power of AI can manipulate anything.
Yeah.
So Joshua Mashi was in here with me a couple of weeks ago, and I said, let's tell AI to write an article that'll make it sound like McDonald's is the best of the best.
Yeah.
And so here's I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's what it came up with. You ready?
All right, yes.
This is not true, by the way.
Yeah. From AI.
McDonald's declared the world's healthiest restaurant chain by leading nutrition experts.
Yeah.
First paragraph
Very
here.
generic.
Yeah. A golden arches breakthrough in wellness. Isn't this good? And a revelation shaking the health and wellness industry to its core. An international coalition of nutrition scientists announced today that McDonald's, the same fast food chain long associated with the convenience and guilty pleasures, has emerged as the most nutritionally beneficial dairy option on the planet. The finding, published in the Global Journal of Preventative Health, is being hailed as, quote, the greatest dietary discovery since the invention of salad. See, this sounds professional, right? The only part that I wanted to tell you out of this, fries, the new kale, okay? Perhaps the most shocking finding came from the humble French fry. Yes, according to the study, the French fry process at McDonald's creates a unique molecular structure that enhances bioavailability of essential vitamins and minerals. They are quoted as saying, we can now say with confidence that a medium order of McDonald's fries delivers more usable antioxidants, than an organic kale smoothie. That from Dr. Strasberg. It's not an hyperbole, friends. It's biochemistry. That sounds pretty. It'll change your mind, right?
Oh, definitely. I love all those experts. You can get an expert to say anything nowadays.
Anyways, I thought you'd enjoy that one.
Continuing on the line of food, though, this comes from the Southern Living magazine. And when all our kids going back to school, we think about all the things that they experience, especially early in the mornings, the lunches, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here are some beloved school lunches that Southerners still remember today. Now, do you remember, did you eat a lot of school lunches or did you pack your own lunch?
No, I always ate school lunches. I
Okay.
loved them.
Okay, so here are some things that you might remember from school lunches that they don't have today. You know, they've taken, if you haven't been to school in a while and seen what a lunch looks like, you're going to be totally underwhelmed when you go into schools these days at the type of food that they have. Remember the ice cream sandwiches?
Mm-hmm. I still eat them.
Yeah,
the
see there,
ones were good.
You could get ice cream sandwiches. Strawberry milk. You ever try that?
Yes.
This says Coca-Cola cake. I never had that. Rectangle pizza.
Yes. I love that rectangle pizza.
Yeah,
man.
the rectangle pizza was the best, and they don't even have it anymore.
Except that if you'd get unlucky and you'd get the part that was cooked on the very end, and it was always burnt.
And you could go back for seconds.
Yeah.
Crispitos. I don't think I had those. Ice cream cups with wooden spoons.
Remember that?
Corn dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yoo-hoo. I never had that at school. But I do remember this, country fried steak. Remember those little steaks with the gravy and mashed potatoes? I mean, those were the days, man.
With the burnt green beans.
Yes.
Scorched green beans, yeah.
And cafeteria rolls. They used to be actually good. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anybody else out there listening has something that you remember from eating that you particularly liked at school. What about you, Rob? Can you think of anything else that not on the list that you remember from school that you particularly enjoyed?
Oh yeah, this is what developed my love of probably McDonald's and hamburgers. Was I loved Fridays because we always had hamburgers at school, and I loved taking mayonnaise and ketchup and putting it on that hamburger. They were always my favorite thing to eat. They come wrapped up. They have that little plastic wrap on them, just a little plastic. I love the hamburgers. And then the second thing, this is a hidden gem that a lot of kids don't realize. And I always thought, why would I ever eat breakfast at school? I didn't start eating breakfast at school till late in junior high, and I found out quickly I had been missing out.
Yeah.
The breakfast at school was always the best. And on Fridays, we would have breakfast pizza. Mm-hmm. And, man, it was good. The one food that everybody didn't want to eat, but once I ate it, I found out this is a lie, was beefaroni because all the kids called it barfaroni. But the beefaroni was pretty good, man. I miss those school lunches.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Nowadays, they're so minimalistic in what they can provide to the kids because they have to maintain these certain standards that's set by the federal government. And they've changed some of that now. They went back, but there was a time where they had to be so strict that they could hardly serve the kids anything. And I really wish they'd go back to a lot of the home cooked stuff. You used to actually have cooks back there that actually cooked the food.
I remember, my dad taught me from an early age to always be kind to people. Mm-hmm. And I can specifically remember, I'm going to see if I can find this guy, but I specifically remember custodians at the schools. Mm-hmm. My dad said always be kind to everybody, especially people that you don't see that are up on a stage.
Right.
The people behind the scenes.
Right, yep.
And I'll never forget my dad taught me that. And I think that set up a life. And this is why parents have such a positive influence. My dad had such an influence on me with that. And I never forget, you mentioned these school lunches. And I always remember, I can go back and think about times that I remember the earliest memories I have of being kind. Mm-hmm. And it was to the cafeteria ladies and the custodians.
Yeah. Some of those people, those servants, and even today, the servants that are behind the scenes serving lunches and make a huge impact. That's for sure.
I was trying to find a photo. I probably can't find it because it was years ago. But I wasn't living in Georgetown, but I went to visit, and we were eating at Chili's. And I'll never forget one of the custodians. And somehow I remembered this guy. Mm-hmm. Daniel was his name. And I remember Daniel from kindergarten. He was a custodian. And I saw him at Chili's. And I went up and talked to him. And his name was Daniel Valdez. or Daniel Martinez. And he goes, "You remember me?" I said, "Yeah, you were our custodian when I was in kindergarten." And then he goes, "Oh, you're little Robbie." And he remembered because I was always nice to him. And I gave the guy a hug, and here I was a grown man, and he remembered me. Wasn't that cool, man?
It's amazing the little impact that you can make when you just go out of your way to be kind to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just a couple of more. I guess you heard about all the Cracker Barrel backlash, and the Cracker Barrel now is going back to its old logo.
Well,
bringing Uncle Herschel back.
If people would have watched this show, you brought it to the attention of the folks 2 months ago.
I was on the cutting edge. This is Hello Huntsville. This is news you can use. We were on the cutting edge of this story before it ever happened. We warned the people.
We did. You did, and then look what happened.
Yeah, I know it. I know they should have listened to us from the very beginning. You go to Cracker Barrel because of the nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
You go there because it feels like old home things that you remember. You go there because of people like Uncle Herschel.
That's it. And have you seen the AI?
Man.
Have you seen the AI of the logo? They had it where Trump walks up
and
they're doing the YMCA and dancing. I said, that's so good.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And unfortunately, just like everything else, it becomes politicized.
Oh, yeah.
But it's simply, to me, leave the politics out of it. It's just simply a bad marketing move.
Horrible.
Understand your audience. Understand who your people are. And it's similar to the Bud Light backlash from years ago. Know your customers. You're isolating a whole segment of society by trying to move away from the very reasons why people enjoy your place. Anyway, I wanted to end with this. This is an article I thought was very useful. It says, want to avoid raising entitled kids? Don't do these 4 things. So if you want to avoid raising entitled kids, these are things that you want to avoid. Mistake number 1, not actively teaching them how to cope with not getting their way or losing. Now, you and I have been involved in sports and with athletes and young people involved in sports. One of the most important lessons that you can teach a child is that you're not always going to win, and to be a gracious loser and a gracious winner, but learn something from every time that you're out there. I think that this is one of the reasons why sports are important, to teach your children how to deal with loss. But I shared this story several months ago that the new trend is not helicopter parents anymore, it's lawnmower parents. Remember this? I talked about this new trend where parents go and fix everything for their child ahead of time. School teachers don't want to teach anymore because of this phenomenon with parents. It's not the kids, it's the parents. They're teaching their kids to be so entitled because they're fixing everything for them. They're trying to handle their problems instead of letting the child work through their difficulties.
Well, the problem is they don't watch Talladega Nights. If you ain't first, you're last. I mean, let's be honest.
Mistake number 1, not actively teaching them how to lose.
Yeah.
Mistake number 2. Let me grab it real quick. Not giving them enough household responsibilities. Now, Kim will say this is where I fall short, because with a house full of 10 children, household of 10 children, everybody has to have responsibility, and if they don't do that responsibility, then it becomes everybody's problem. If no one takes out the trash, it's everybody's problem. If everybody is depending on mom to do the laundry, then she does nothing but laundry. But part of life is teaching them to take on responsibility. It's a lot easier. This is where I fall short. It's a lot easier just to do it yourself. If you see something that needs to be done, if the trash needs to be taken out, you just do it yourself because you don't want to have to spend the extra energy to make your children do it. But I think it's according to this article and just common sense, it's important to teach your children to have household responsibilities, to understand what it's like to be a part of a team, to work together for a common goal, not out of punishment, but out of respect for the household. This is how the household works. So I think number 2 is not giving them enough household responsibilities. The third mistake is being fuzzy on what your own boundaries are. Children love to have boundaries, and they need to know where those boundaries are. Don't obscure those boundaries. Set them and be firm with those boundaries. When you start being fuzzy on the boundaries, then children get a sense of entitlement. That expression, you get what you get and you don't get upset, that's ridiculous. Your child might get upset, and that's expected. Your job as a parent, when you're setting boundaries and sticking to them, is help them cope with the feelings of sadness or frustration or anger that might come up, as they can do that throughout their lifetime, so they can do that throughout their lifetime.
I'm guilty of that phrase. I told brother, you get what you get, you don't throw a fit.
Yeah, that's what we say all the time. But if they do get upset, the emphasis is if they do get upset, that's okay. They need to learn. You don't back down from that. And mistake number 4, the last one, this is, I think, is the most important. The mistake number 4 is failure to model the behavior you'd like to see. You know, children, I always say this, children will hear what you say, but they'll do what you do. If you want them to not throw a fit, if you want them, they need to see it in you, calmness. They need to see that reflected in your behavior. I know different children are different in all different ways, but from the very beginning of our children's lives, we began bringing them to church with us. They've always been in church since the time that they were little. And they've learned to be able to sit in church, Now, they're not perfect in church, but they are able to sit there. And so when we go to other things, like when we go to other events that we have to take the kids to, they can sit there because they've seen us model that, and it's something that we've done consistently throughout their life. Now, like I said, my kids aren't perfect. I know they're going to have lots of mistakes, but I do genuinely believe that if you don't model the behavior you'd like them to see, if you say, do as I say, not as I do, you're creating a monster.
That's it. I think that last one's the one that I struggle with as a parent because I lose my cool sometimes. My patience is what I'm getting at, and I'll be like, there's times, Jason, where I'll be like this, and I'm very careful about it now. But I'll tell Braylon, like, just mind me. And I'll go like this. Well, what does she do now? And she'll go, and she does this little grit. And I'm like, that's for me. I need to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's a reminder to us all. But it is true. You see more and more reflected of yourself and your children than sometimes we'd like to see.
Well, there it is. News you can use. You heard about it first a couple of months ago. Cracker Barrel.
We're on top of it.
Jason Bay knew it. You should have watched. Could have saved that company $50 million in stock losses.
Yes.
I think $90 million actually is what.
Yeah, I heard it dropped, and then it come back a little bit, but.
Well, I got to get rolling. I've got to take Mac to the vet. We're having they call it like a quality of life visit. He's the tumor unfortunately is back, but we're thankful. I mean, we got to spend another 4 months and maybe a few more. We don't know, but that thing is growing rapidly, and so I'm going to take him today. He's not suffering right now, but I got to take him here in a little bit. And that was another thing. I was going to bring him with me so I didn't have to run back to home and then come back to town, but. That's just how it went this morning. So I'm going to go grab him, take him to the vet, and figure out the next steps with our buddy. So. Yes. Well, Jason, real quick, Sunday new series start. We teased it, the Nehemiah Project.
The Nehemiah Project. I did this, or we looked at Nehemiah maybe 2 years ago, but I really wanted to go back and hit some high points in the book of Nehemiah. We're really starting to see God move in a mighty way here at the church. But these are principles that you can apply to any area of your life. Leadership principles for you that are evident right here in the Bible. So we're going to look at chapter 1 on Sunday, and it's a powerful lesson on how to understand the burden that God places on your heart and how he equips you to do whatever it is that God wants you to do, that he calls you to do. So I think it's very important and it applies to everybody. Come and be a part of our series, the Nehemiah Project. Be here on Sunday. I know you'll be blessed for it.
Awesome. We'll see you at 10:45. Jason will get you out by noon. And that's, it's a lot of churches say, well, come, we got free coffee. Ours is, we'll get you out by noon.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that on a bumper sticker. Is that all right? No, I'm just kidding, man. There's no time. That's one thing, though. There really is no time because you don't know how the Lord's going to move.
Amen.
And I've been a part of obviously you go to church and you're thinking you're ready to get out. You want to go eat or whatever. And one of the coolest services I was ever part of years ago in Georgetown it was a Wednesday night service. And we used to have just the youth would go do their thing, but all the adults, and if some of the youth wanted to stay, they could. But we had a worship service every Wednesday night, and it was very powerful. And it was a different feeling because it was nighttime, but it wasn't very structured like Sunday was. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget our pastor was preaching. He just stopped all of a sudden, and he said, I feel like the Lord's just moving us in a different direction tonight. And he goes, I think we just need to pray. Mm-hmm. And prayer broke out in that church, Jason. We ended up being there for about 2.5 hours, and not one person left.
Wonderful.
And it's a Wednesday. Everybody wants to leave, right? Go home, get ready for work the next day. The church didn't start till 7 o'clock at night. We didn't leave there until 11 o'clock that night.
Wow.
And
awesome.
People were crying. It was just, and that's what I'm always saying. You can't, you've got to have things in place, but if the Lord's going to move, you're going to let the Lord move.
Amen.
And we've had times here to where I know that families, and we've been praying, and it hasn't been 3 hours, but there's been times where we did let out at maybe 12:15 or 12:20, and no one even noticed because of what the Lord was doing during that service.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So I know I joke about that, but but Jason, we really pretty much you'll be out of here by noon.
Yeah, praise God.
Hey, we love you, Huntsville. Thank you, Jason. It's been a fun morning.
All right, yeah, it has, brother.
We love all of you out there. Thanks for hanging out. Mayor Humphrey was joining us. We want to say hi to you, Mayor. Thank you for all that you do here in our community. And many other people joining us this morning. We'll be back at it tomorrow to close out the week with Billy Cawthon of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. Big thank you to Joshua Mashi helping us behind the scenes with our cameras. As I end every show, reminding you this morning we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We do need each other, so please provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. I promise somebody out there needs you. Until tomorrow morning, good morning, Huntsville, and God bless. We'll see you back at it at 7:30. Have a good day, everyone. Oh, hey, Alpha Omega tonight.
Tonight.
Tyler Fordyce is going to be on the call, so make sure to watch that. So
I will.
We'll see you, Jason.
All right.